In this video, we will go over Thunderbolt Hero's new lightning damage type. Burn excels at AOE, Ice Blast excels at single target. Which category does Thunderbolt belong to? Time to find out. Thunderbolt heroes are a type of hero that is good at inflicting electrocuted. Enemies inflicted with electrocuted periodically cause lightning strikes between themselves, dealing damage to multiple enemies inflicted with electrocuted. There are two types of Thunderbolt heroes, ones that specialize in damage and lightning surge, which triggers extra electrocuted, and the ones that specialize in empowering and lightning channeling. He specializes in synergizing with heroes of the same type to boost their damage, and also specializes in efficiently inflicting electrocuted. Perkunte is the exclusive Thunderbolt hero who is an amazing damage dealer. His passives grants him an overwhelm with unlimited duration whenever electrocuted is triggered. He himself does not really do a lot of electrocuted. There's this battle skill with only 50% chance, but it's an AOE, so there's a little probability, but I would not build him with accuracy. He also stacks this overwhelm to 30 stacks. At the same time, the hero casts a lightning, dealing lightning damage to the enemy with the lowest HP, so it's very good at PvP as well. The fewer enemies on the field, the higher the damage, up to 500% of the base damage. For every stack of overwhelm on the hero increases the damage of this skill by 3%. However, all stacks of overwhelm on the hero will be cleared after this skill. So we can increase the damage of this skill by 90% because the max overwhelm stacks are at 30. Now, as I mentioned, his battle skill is the one that can apply electrocuted in a wide range. However, putting accuracy on this guy might be a waste because he's all about the damage, and his damage is amazing, which you will see in the action soon. Also, his exclusive artifact grants him crit damage and attack, so this definitely tells us we need to build crit rate with huge crit damage, and the lawful retribution will ignore 35% of the target's defense, while damage ratio provided by each stack of overwhelm will be increased to 4% instead of 3%, so we can get up to 120% increase here. Let's see him in action. So as I said, I had to bring someone else to apply this electrocuted. And just look at this damage, right? Second legendary Thunderbolt hero is Shine Ashton. He's an enabler and a melee hero as well that has an enlightenment aura. His passive uses lightning to strike up 2 random enemies inflicted with electrocuted every 4 seconds, dealing lightning damage with a 70% chance of inflicting electrocuted on them for 8 seconds. So this is a good way to keep this electrocuted on the targets constantly. His battle skill deals 200% attack and enlightenment up to 2 random enemies and has a 100% chance of inflicting electrocuted on them. And his ultimate is amazing because it grants 15% attack up to all Thunderbolt allies for 10 seconds and then deals damage to enemies within range, and the range is huge with a 100% chance of inflicting electrocuted. He is probably the most useful hero here, but he's a melee. There are also range variants, and I'm building him with defense down. This damage hits a single target though, but at least it helps with the applying defense penalty. And the set that I use here is the Enlightenment set with a chance of derivative damage increased by 20. You don't really need to build him with the free set. Basically, you can do 2-2 depending on what you really need. And I forgot to mention Perkunte's build, so he's going for the crit and attack build with every time he casts the battle skill, he gets an 8% damage up. Let's see this guy in action. You obviously had a chance to see him previously, but just to continue, you'll see that he can buff all the allies. So basically the rotation will be with him starting the ultimate, bang, followed by that. But there's also another set that might be very useful on him. Whenever he applies a debuff, which he will, electrocuted, right? As I said, remember, there's another set that will work really well with him, and the set is called Cyril's Whisper. So when the wearer successfully inflicts a debuff, all allies gain additional 15% attack, which helps at the encounters because this will be constant. This will be applied constantly because we have battle skill that applies electrocuted, which is a debuff, and we have an ultimate skill that also applies electrocuted. The next Thunderbolt hero is Nissa. She's again one that can deal damage and triggers the damage as well. Her passive is quite interesting because at the start of the combat she uses a mechanical creature to follow the nearest enemy, keeping them inflicted with the electrocuted. When the follow target dies, the mechanical creature will reselect an enemy to follow. Now, I didn't mention that with two other heroes, but another mechanic that we have here is called Thunderbolt, which instantly triggers damage dealt by electrocuted. And in her case, she's got this battle skill that deals damage to the enemy and has a 100% chance of inflicting electrocuted to them for 8 seconds, and then triggers Thunderbolt once if the enemy has this electrocuted. On top of that, her ultimate targets an enemy. This is an AOE, instructing mechanical creatures to follow the target and initiate an electrical field that centers around the target for 10 seconds. When enemy is inflicted with electrocuted, mechanical creatures trigger Thunderbolt on them 2 times. So we trigger this damage twice and deal 120% attack directed damage to all enemies within the field. So yeah, she's another good enabler. I'm running her with actually basically boosting per contest damage through this and a little bit of extra crit here. This is probably not the best build. Again, I don't think there's a need for 2 of them in a team because the electrocuted doesn't stack, but you know, since I had a chance, I've been using 2 of them. And let's look at her during the battle. So you can see this little orb here, like Oriana's orb, and then she casts it again. Yeah, so she's more of a single target electrocuted applier. Unless the target dies, it moves. Or we cast it a little bit differently. Let's see. So in the middle, Manda is in an interesting Thunderbolt epic hero as she excels at applying electrocuted. She also has turrets that will have a chance of applying electrocuted. In addition, each time the hero and the turret successfully inflict electrocuted, the turrets will gain 1 stack of attack up, which increases attack by 10%, stacking up to 10 times, which can increase the attack by 100%. Now, she can summon a target once every 10 seconds, and the turret will have a certain amount of HP with unlimited duration. It will only disappear when it's killed. There can only be 2 turrets at the same time, but when the turret's number reaches the upper limit, which is 2, casting this skill to fully restore HP for the current turret with the lowest HP. So it is amazing. We can keep these turrets alive as long as they don't get one-shotted. Now the turret's basic attack deal 100% lightning damage with a 20% chance of inflicting electrocuted. My ultimate is amazing because it grants attack speed 2 and 20% attack up to all turrets for 10 seconds, and the chance of inflicting electrocuted by the turret's basic attack is increased to 40% within the next 10 seconds. However, this skill does not work the way it is being said in the description. I reported that already and you'll be able to see that in action. We're going to spawn the first turret, and as you can see, we have attack up bonus on both the turret and her, which disappears now. She's going to put this again, and now when I cast the ultimate, look at this. I'm going to grant the buffs to everyone, including that hero here. Look at this again. The turrets only gain an extra speed, while the hero still gains damage up. Look at this. He has attack up. We're gonna cast the skill. And Perkunte is getting 20% attack up as well as the hero. The only difference is the turrets get attack speed as well. Hirvolm is another Thunderbolt hero that excels at damage. Sadly, he is a melee hero and we know how they tend to die easily when built around damage. Nonetheless, if you're planning to bring him to content that can keep him safe, alive, you can definitely go through it. Well, his passive, when the enemy electrocuted is triggered, reduces the hero's current battle skill recharge time by 10%. This skill can only take effect once every 3 seconds. So his battle skill deals 320 lightning damage to enemies within range, and it is an AOE with 40% chance of inflicting electrocuted, which goes to 60%. Similar to Perkunte, I will highly suggest to skip accuracy on him and focus on the damage. Now, the hero gains 20% attack through his ultimate for 10 seconds, deals 400 damage to enemies within range, similar to range of Sagomir, and if the enemies are under the effect of electrocuted, he deals an extra 450% lightning damage and triggers Thunderbolt, which triggers damage dealt by electrocuted once. So as you can see, as long as there's an enemy who has electrocuted on him, this hero does a lot of burst damage, and this is why I'm building him with skills, because he has the battle skill reduction and crit rate, crit damage. Let's see him in action. Thunderbolt only received 6 heroes compared to Burn and Ice Blast, who received 7. The last hero is Ariasu, who is a strong damage dealer. It's a rare hero with an AOE electrocuted attacks. However, I would still again skip electrocuted on him and bring electrocuted on someone else, because he is doing enough damage. As long as someone is applying electrocuted, his passive can give him an extra 50% of attack. Battle skill damage has a huge scaling and triggers Thunderbolt. Ultimate does AOE damage with a huge scaling. However, again, this is just a melee hero, so it's really hard to hit these skills if enemies are spreading, for example in the Goblin, or you're trying to focus AoE ads and he's put somewhere here, because the tank always takes the middle spot. Let's take a look at him in action. So first of all, let's try this team against the Goblin dungeon, where we know Burn team excels. Let's see how good the Thunderbolt team is. As we can see, we apply this Thunder electrocuted, and the team is doing quite good damage, and it's coming from this legendary as well as this epic. But look at Perkunte. I was 2 electrocuted on the enemies, and he still managed to one-shot them with his ultimate. The damage is really, really high here. I mean, this is the last level of the Goblin dungeon that I'm clearing here. And obviously 2 supports here, basically 2 electrocute enablers with some damage dealers. And again, single ultimate clears the wave. Obviously no healer here, so they will fall eventually, the melee heroes, because they're not healing themselves. And the last wave. And we're done. Let's see the time. 55 seconds. So let's try this team in a PvE environment where AoE and single target damage is required against the Spider Queen. She summons her ads that have to die quickly, otherwise she gains buffs and heal herself, and as you can see, Perkunte's double damage is just amazing. He can take them down with the cast of single ultimate. And the boss HP is also going down. I believe second ultimate will finish the boss, but let's stop it at this time and let's try the more free-to-play friendly team. And I mean, free-to-play friendly, don't worry about Ogok here. I'm just using those two to test the damage and abilities of the Thunderbolt heroes. Okay, so with this team, we're gonna use the rare to do the damage. Rare and epic are melee heroes, so that means we will not hit the odds. We'll focus on the boss. Let's see how this plays out. As you can see, there's no chance of us killing the odds because our damage dealers are in the face of the boss. However, now he's moved to the backline and he demolished them with single attack. Look at the damage coming from this dude. It is amazing, right? And the rare hero is also doing good damage. So we managed to get rid of the odds. And we're going forward. I mean, it's not bad considering we could replace Ogok with any healer, even like Hexandra. 30 million at 50 stacks on Vortex. This is definitely not a single target team, but it does better than Burn. Perkunte here is just amazing with his passive. Let's try the free-to-play friendly version. And definitely the free-to-play version is not a single target oriented. Look at this damage, it's really low at 50 stacks compared to Ice Blast or even Burn team, even the free-to-play friendly Burn team. Overall, I think this team is really flashy, but sadly, I think it's very dependent on the exclusive hero Perkunte compared to Burn team or even the Ice Blast team. This team is definitely more dependent on the burst coming from their exclusive hero. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. As always, thank you for watching, stay safe, bye!